Hi, it's Dale, and it's another session with me. And I think I need to point that way because I think whichever way it was last time, we were in whichever way I pointed, you weren't there. So I'm going to point that way, which is not what I see. And the lovely Mel Wakeman from Wakeman Nutrition. And today we're going to talk about decluttering. Now, before we talk about decluttering, I just wanted to introduce you to The Devil Wears Prada, or in my case, The Devil Wears Charity, which brings me really, actually, that does bring me very beautifully into decluttering. So Mel and I ran a program called 28 Days to a New You, and one of the modules was about decluttering. So like the good coaches we advised everyone to go off and declutter various things. So it was about, declutter stuff in your house. And then it was about, and we'll come back to the decluttering of the body and the mind in a moment. But I didn't think I was going to go and do any decluttering because I thought, I'm really good at, I go to my wardrobe and I go, don't like that. And I put stuff in the charity shop, and I love animal prints. And I picked this up in the charity shop. So I love that kind of exchange of energy. So I often go around the house and I go, and literally I go around with a big shopping bag and I go charity shop, and I just love that feeling of making that space and releasing the energy. But when we did the 28 days, I trotted off to the kitchen and I thought, little OCD me, everything's lined up beautifully. I don't have any clutter. Oh, I was super embarrassed. So what I seem to have a tendency to do, I'm now completely cured, was I'd buy something, let's say like dried beans, and I put them in a little container, and then I think, I haven't got any dried beans. So I'd buy some more dried beans and I put them in another little container. And what I found in my cupboard, I had like the 50-litre bags that you have, for the bin in the kitchen. I had 3 of those full of things that some of the things were 5 years old. My herbs and spices were old. I was shocked. I went through my entire kitchen and I had to confess that I'd done that. And so I've set up a system now so that let's say if I've got spaghetti, I've got the one I'm using and the one that's to come next. And when that one's open, I only buy one other. So I always know now in my head, because I don't want to do that again. What a waste of money. What a complete and utter waste of money. But we do that, don't we, Mel? We hoard stuff and we create that clutter around us. And I think that creates clutter in our minds and our bodies, because I felt so I felt ashamed of myself, but I actually felt quite liberated afterwards that I'd done that declutter. And I'm laughing because you've got, I can only describe them as poo biscuits behind me. And one of my dogs, I'm going to tell you about one of my dogs. I've got a dog. She's beautiful. She's called Marley Moo, and I often call her Marley Poo. And we were out walking not long ago. I mean, they eat goat poo all the time. You know what I'm going to say.
I know what's coming.
A human pooed outside, and my dog ate it. And I was looking at Mel's biscuits, and I thought Marley Poo would love those because she loves anything pooey. So why don't we talk about? Let's talk about poo and decluttering our bodies and minds. Nice subject, isn't it? But decluttering our bodies and minds. So lots of people know about decluttering the house and getting rid of that stuff and how that kind of clears your head. But I wonder if anyone actually realizes about kind of decluttering the body and that kind of connection between the brain and the rubbish that's going on and stuff that's going on. I mean, you're the expert on that, not me. So I'm gonna leave the poo to you.
You leave the poo to me. It's a big topic, isn't it? You're right in terms of it's so important that we, support our body to, eliminate and clear our systems out. And I'm sure we've probably got that idea that, generally we feel better within ourselves when we don't feel sort of know how to word that, kind of loaded up and heavy and sluggish, and that's just when our gut is working slowly, or if we're just like carrying a lot of emotional, mental baggage, it's kind of exhausting. And I guess from my perspective, I see people talking a lot about detoxing and, you know, cleansing and flushing the body. And I think what we have to remember is that our body has a really good detoxification system, a great elimination system. It's free. We don't actually have to do a fat lot with it, other than sort of support our body with, you know, resting enough, drinking plenty to literally help, you know, our kidneys work and flush things out. Well done, Mrs. Well done. And also, of course, eating the right foods that support our gut to keep our body, literally to keep our body moving and to keep our gut moving. And I suppose what I've wondered over this period of time, when we've been in this sort of lockdown period, I wonder whether people noticed that their bowels kind of went a little bit AWOL or changed, because for certain people, you might be listening to this thinking, as soon as I change my routine, then it shows up in my digestive system. And I've experienced this in the past, just like when I've had some time off and I'm maybe just waking up a little bit later, or I'm eating at different times because my diary isn't sort of scheduled as it might ordinarily be in a work, or when I travel, even when I go and stay at other people's houses. I don't know whether there probably is, there likely needs to be that whole mind gut connection thing going on. And it's amazing how what our body is going through will manifest in terms of how our gut functions. So it is interesting.
Do you know, it is fascinating, because I eat very healthily. So for breakfast, I usually have things like chia seeds. Not too many, because obviously that causes its own problem in itself. I have done that by accident in the past, slipped, and it's like, oh, never mind, I'll just eat them. But I have chia seeds, I have pumpkin, I'm trying to think what the English word, hirosol, sunflower seeds, and nuts. And so I try and make the first thing I have in the day something that I know is going to be really, really good for my digestive system. And, you know, I eat, you know, lots of salad and lots of vegetables and stuff like that. But I know when I'm wound up, it doesn't matter that I've put all that good stuff in. You know, I drink white tea, not black tea with milk, but I drink white tea, I drink water. And regardless of that, there are times when I can actually feel all of the tension and the whatever. And I know this is constipated. And that affects that. And it's like, but I've eaten all that good stuff. My body works really, really well. It's like a little clockwork, and it's, you know, it works super well. And then I get those moments, because we all go into like chaos sometimes. I mean, and right now, well, no blinking wonder. And it does. I can feel my body, all parts of my body. I can feel my back aching, you know, where I've had the fractures. It's like, the pain comes along and goes, we're going to mess with your head, we're going to mess with your back, and we're going to mess with your bowels. So yeah, it's definitely stress related.
I was walking as you do when you have your little hours exercise, walking not long into the lockdown period, and I just wanted to become really conscious about how my body was moving, because I felt tense. I had tension headaches. I'd started like grind, or not just
I do that.
I don't grind, I clench for teeth, and I wasn't conscious of it. I was just walking along, and I was walking along with my fists like this, and I was like, what? I didn't even realise it. Just like I was trying to feel like the flow in my body. I was like, what am I doing? So I'm just unconsciously tense. And for me, because I manage my anxiety, it goes up and down. This has been a real roller coaster. So I've had heartburn. I've had just like stomach ache. I have IBS anyway, so it kind of been on this little bit of a roller coaster. I have been all over the place. But
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
But we don't often think necessarily that it's around our emotional sort of roller coaster. A lot of the time, people will come to me and go, "Okay, how do I need to change my diet?" And there's an element of that in terms of, okay, how can we better support the gut through our diet? I think probably one of the equal, if not bigger factor is our emotions.
You see, you've reminded me when you said the IBS word, years and years and years ago, they used to call it spastic colon when I was growing up, which is a hideous.
Yeah.
I don't know that irritable bowel syndrome is any better, but I remember being taken to the doctor because I had, in the bottom left-hand quadrant of my body, the most horrendous pain. And when I laid down, it was like a rock hard sausage. That's the only way I can describe it. And later, as I sort of start getting periods and stuff like that, and I get ovulation pain, it was the same pain. It was absolutely horrid. And I was trying to think of like what did the doctor give you? Well, they used, the doctors, bless their hearts, give you things to fix it. Fiber gel. Can you remember drinking orange fiber gel?
Yeah.
What else? Soaked flax seeds, necking them, Andrew's liver salts, and years later, I mean, I can remember going to see some specialist lady, and she gave me something called slippery elm.
I was just about to say that, yeah.
And it's amazing stuff, but at the time, nothing touched my IBS. When I saw her, nothing touched my IBS until I left somebody. So being in a stressful relationship where someone is mentally abusive, right? You're in a stressful job. I used to be in sales, like, IT sales. So you're traveling the country, and it doesn't matter that you're beating all your targets. You still get beaten around the head with, oh, you're not good enough. What do you mean I'm not good enough? I just bought you a massive order in. So the whole of my life was super, super stressful, but I didn't realize. And so she kept giving me this slippery elm stuff, and it didn't do anything. I mean, she taught me some good things to say to the person concerned, but it wasn't until that all ended did the IBS actually eventually go. And I know why I had it as a child, because of some other abusive, nothing to do with my family, but some other abusive things. Actually, my mum and dad used to argue a lot, so it probably did have a lot to do with but there was some other stuff that happened. So I'm laughing because I've got a picture in my head of we were living in Germany, and mum and dad had been out. Actually, my mum used to wear leopard animal print dresses. She always looks so beautiful and glamorous. I'm not sure if she's ever had IBS, but they'd gone out partying and drinking. And when I woke up in the morning, because she paints, she'd obviously smacked her canvas over my dad's head, because there was kind of like a big hole in it. And I'm laughing about it now, but I do think that, combined with some of the abuse that I'd had at other people's hands with my parents, no wonder my colon went.
My story is not that dissimilar. There were no canvases, but coming back to a really difficult relationship, and this went on I was with him for 11 years. At the time, that's when my IBS started. That's when I got that diagnosis, because I don't know what it is. I had all sorts of investigations. I had camera shoved up my bum. I saw a dietitian. I had all the antispasmodics and the muscle relaxants. I went dairy free, wheat free, gluten free, tried it all over this span. Like you, left, ejected myself, and I've been a hell of a lot better. It's like it went over about a course of a year, but it went, and it comes back when I know I'm stressed, but that it wasn't to do with my diet. It wasn't to do with anything that I was doing wrong. It was the emotional trauma.
And you see, what's lovely about the way that you work is you do work with people on their emotions and on what they're eating. You to my mind, you can't separate those things. When I've been in situations where things haven't been great, so my go-to emotional release is journaling and walking my dogs. That those two things combined give me that great whatever. But if I didn't put good food in my body, I think I'd be in a terrible state. But you need both of those things. You need some way to express yourself, to sort those emotional things out. And then I think the body just goes, oh, thank goodness there's like a place to release.
Well, just telling you before we came and did this, isn't it? I was in a foul mood yesterday. I was proper arsey. You know, like get sort of sarcastic.
That's a great word when we're talking about poo.
Proper arsey. It's like, woke up, no, this isn't good today. And I ate cake in anger. I was like, God damn it, just give me the goddamn cake. And I went for a walk. I went for a walk with Joey, my dog, cleared my head, started to process stuff. I then came and wrote it down. So got out my journal, wrote down how it is that I'm feeling. What's that coming from? You know, what's it all about? It wasn't necessarily about problem solving. It was the brain dump, you know. And that's something that you've really taught me in terms of how to sort of let go of those feelings. And it's, you know, journaling for me has become a really powerful tool. But it is also for me in terms of diet. It's not just what we eat. It's what we eat, how that makes us feel. What's that connection between our emotions and our food choices and preferences? And also our food choices, how do they make us feel, you know? And I think it's not an easy process to go through, because God, you know, thinking about your emotions and that uncomfortable stuff we touched on last week, didn't we? It's not easy, but it's a really fascinating journey. And really, you know, the ultimate outcome benefit of that is to get to better to understand yourself. You get to kind of rediscover who you are. It's really, really good.
It is. It's fascinating, because last week, you know, we talked about keeping a food and mood journal. And I think if somebody were to do that, they'd soon start to see, oh yeah, you know, like I'm in a, you know, conflicted environment in work, or, you know, it's traumatic at home, you know, it's very negative or whatever. So they soon start to see like their own language, the language that other people use with them. I know we were chatting on Facebook earlier about the toxicity that we get when we interact with people who tell us we're stupid. I mean, I got told I was stupid, so I did a master's degree, and it's like, no, I'm not. Don't you call me stupid. But that stress, that toxicity is all inside your body. And you think, you know, you've got that thing called an intestine that's miles and miles and miles long, and it's designed to evacuate whatever. And of course, if we're not evacuating, all of that crud, I'm trying to think of a nice word, all of that, it's like it's sitting inside your colon, and eventually it's going to seep into your body. You know, there's, you know, all the nerves are connected. It's going to seep into your mind. You're going to have unhealthy thoughts. And there's, I just feel if we could just encourage people to do that one little thing of writing in their journal, whether it's, you know, downloading your food and mood journal, or, you know, having a journal in some other kind of way, whether they've got a structured journal with prompts, or they, you know, buy a beautiful notebook, to really start to know who they are. But also, and one of the other things we did on the 28 days, if you remember, we did little love me notes.
Yeah.
You used to come on the fridge. Imagine that you yesterday, angry, and me fed up with all the blinking damp and stuff. Imagine if you go to the fridge and there's this lovely note that says, you are a goddess, you are beautiful, and I love you, and whatever. You know, imagine like you've gone to the fridge. I don't know where you keep your cake. I keep cake in the fridge.
It's just on the side in the kitchen where I can see it.
I had this massive bar of chocolate in my fridge, hidden, and I was not going to eat it. And because yesterday I had a bit of a brain thingy, I went and ate the whole bloody lot because I was so naffed off. Now, if I'd have had a lovely note on the fridge instead, mind you, I probably would have ripped it off and stamped on it and said, "Don't you tell me I'm lovely." But, you know, if you can do like nice things, stuff to remind you that, you know, your body is a temple, you know. And I always have that question, do I love myself? And if I didn't yesterday, I just want to eat chocolate. But typically I do say to myself, do I love myself enough to not stuff my face full of whatever? So that I think it's that we do need to work on that loving ourselves and that emotional, psychological stuff.
That's all part of, supporting, our body, mind and soul, as it were, and maybe we can do something on emotional eating, another time. But I think there's something to be said for what we can get from food, that it's functional, in terms of encouraging digestion, keeping things moving through, feeding the good bacteria in your gut. There's functional side, but there's also, it does bring comfort. We're allowed to enjoy food. It's meant to taste good. There's those elements as well. But you basically can't beat a good dump, Dale.
I'm glad you made me laugh right at the end instead of right in the blinking middle. Can't beat a good dump. I love a good dump. Sunday nights is in my journal.
I'm just going to say, wow, that's clever.
That's very clever. I can actually magic when I do a dump. Sunday nights is my, when I go to bed with my journal, I get everything out of my head on a Sunday night, and it's it's not about getting all the rubbish out. It's actually, I get loads of really great ideas. So it's like whatever needs to come up. But I think I've said before, on a full moon, I got to take this thing off. It's absolutely killing my head. Get that off. Be gone with you, devil. My trident.
Oh, you've got one.
No, it's broken.
Oh, no.
No, got broken in the move, but never mind. So on a Sunday night, everything, I just scribble and scribble and scribble. And then what I do on a Monday morning is I ask what I want to create. And on a full moon, I write a letter to letting go. Because I just think we just need to, allow ourselves to let go. Say thank you for the lessons and the gifts and the whatever. And then I light it. I set a torch to it and it's gone.
Yeah, I've done that before. I've burnt letters and journals. There's something really cathartic, something really therapeutic about it.
Massively cathartic. So people can contact you where?
So you can stalk me up. No, don't say that. And you can find me on social media. So I'm as Mel Wakeman on Facebook and Instagram. My website is wakemannutrition.com, and that's where you can still get the free food and mood diary. Right. And it's a 2-week diary, so it's enough to get you started but not be overwhelming. But typically, if you're looking at changing something quite significant, you probably need to carry it on for a good month to 2 months, But that's where you can find me.
So what people can do, I guess, is download, if they don't want to talk to you straight away, is download the food and mood diary, actually use it, and then come to you with information, because then they'll be able to say to you in a good conversation, I've just noticed that I mean, they might already know, but we often, we fool ourselves, don't we? So
totally. I mean, on my website, I offer a free 30 minutes with Mel. So it's a free conversation. So I've had that already. People have done their diary. It's like, can I just talk to you about this? This is what I found. It's like, yeah, absolutely. And we can start to put the pieces together.
Right. Because hang on.
Birdie!
We have a Ferdinand. He's probably come to tell me that he wants one of those things that begins with D.
My poo biscuit.
He probably wants a biscuit and a dump, little darling that he is. Don't you?
So where can we find you, Dale?
You can find me at, sorry, I got slightly sidetracked then with the Ferds. You can find me at daledarley.com. You can find me on Instagram, on LinkedIn. I blog a lot, so he's determined, isn't he, now, that we've got to end our chat. So daledarley.com. You can find me Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. I've got a whole, you can see one of my journals there. I've got a whole range of different journals on, forgot what the bookshop's called now, Amazon. And I've got something called the journaling club. So anyone who finds it a little bit difficult to journal, every month there's a PDF journal that you can download. I do lots and lots of prompts. Some months I divide the month up into kind of, I call them missions. So you might have a mission to create simplicity in your life, which actually is mostly about decluttering. The month 3 that I've just done is all about gratitude. Next month it's all about self-love, and it's priced really, really, really well. And there's a little course that goes with stuff. So yeah, you can find me in all sorts of places. All about writing.
I love your journals and your prompts. I've obviously have some of your journals here, and your prompts of just they're really kind, but they're just like probing and just yeah, they make me curious. So they're really, really helpful.
I do my own prompts. I'm currently doing something that's called 101 Days of Being Me. So if anyone wants to do this with me at the same time, if you go to my website and you look at courses, there's something called 101 Days of Being Me. And what you get is you get kind of like a food for thought. You get a quote and you get an affirmation. I did those. I started writing those, oh, goodness me, probably about 3 or 4 years ago. And what I do once a year is I actually sign up for my own email prompts. I use my own books because I like how I've asked the questions. But the 101 days, it's like we're just moving. You know, the lockdown phase is changing. You know, and like the country I'm in, we're moving into what's called phase 1. And I just thought stuff's changing again. So you can sign up, you get a prompt every day. I'm actually blogging mine as well. So I'm kind of pouring my heart out to the nation. But I think it's a really, really powerful thing to do and to commit. You know, when leaders go into, you know, their new job, the first 100 days are the most important. So I'm giving you your first 100 days and one for good luck. So I've waffled too much now. So I'm going to.
Okay, that was good. Go and have a look, people. Go and have a look.
So we'll see you next time. Thanks, Matt.
Bye.
Bye-bye.